Hey monkeys, how you doing? Damian Keyes here. I've brought you into the kitchen because there's just so much going on in the office. This is like a quiet space for five. So a couple of years ago, I got a text message sent to me from a friend of mine with a picture of a slightly chubby, scruffy ginger guy pulling a pint in a pub. And it just said underneath it, "This guy is the future of the music industry." And I text back and I said, "No, he isn't." Turns out it's Ed Sheeran. Turns out he was right. I was wrong. Ed Sheeran's taken over the world. But what can we learn from Ed Sheeran? Because Ed Sheeran, there's a couple of things that Ed Sheeran, what I call the Ed Sheeran tick box. Things that Ed Sheeran does better than everybody else. He's kind of sewn up that mark. He's a very, very smart guy and he's surrounded by very, very smart individuals. So I want to talk about 5 things that he does that you can have a think about and implement it in some way. 5 things that you can improve about what you do. Ed, I call him Ed. Ed Sheeran plays the game so well. I think, is Ed Sheeran the greatest songwriter of all time? No, I think we'd all agree that he's not, but at the same point, his songs do mean something and they do touch something. Is he the best lyricist? No. Is he the best guitarist? No. Is he the best singer? No. Is he the best artist of all time? No. But if you look at the stats and the records that he's broken, technically maybe he is, but it goes past that. We all look at him, we all just kind of go, if you just take the music alone, he is doing a very good job. If you actually look at the package, the whole thing, is he just utterly delicious to look at? No, he's not. So what is it? He is doing a bunch of other things. He has sewn up a couple of markets. He's ticked a few boxes that he leads the way in, and this is allowing him, or has allowed him, to completely take over the world, take over the music industry. And other than, say, Adele, I don't think there's any artist on the planet that can do what Ed Sheeran does at the moment. So we need to look at what he's doing, we need to look at what we're doing, and what can we do to reflect some of the great things, the clever things that he's doing into our project. Number 1, Ed Sheeran is the master of the first dance. If you think about weddings, if you think about that moment where the couple gets together and they do their first dance. Now, we've got a management company. I own a management company, and that management company has 30 bands. So we do between 1,500 and 2,000 gigs a year, a lot of weddings. Now, when it comes to first dances, Ed Sheeran is requested more than almost all of the rest of the songs put together. It's a crazy amount. And Thinking Out Loud is probably 1 in every 3 requests. And now obviously he's got Perfect and he's got these other songs which all fit in. So it's not just one song. It's not like Chasing Cars by Snow Patrol or I Won't Give Up by Jason Mraz. We're talking about an artist that has really embellished that first dance market. And so think about it. Not only is he doing the first dances, and every band covering all these first dances, which are on videos, which are then spread all over the internet, it is just spreading like wildfire. He's sewn that market up. There is not another artist on the face of the planet that has sewn up the first dance market, and what an absolutely incredible market it is too. Ed Sheeran even knows it himself. He's even turned up to weddings to play first dances, which is a very, very clever thing to do. But he knows he's got that market. So when his last album was out and Thinking Out Loud was on it, and I remember saying, this is going to be ridiculously massive for the wedding industry, and it was. And then the next album, what's he done? He's gone, we need one of the tracks on this to be first dance material. And he's, again, sewn up that market. Now, you might be in a rock band or a metal band and you might be thinking, well, we can't do that. We're not first dance material. But there's other things that you can do. Look at Prince right in 1999, and that comes out every single New Year, or Christmas song, or Happy Birthday, or it could be anything. It doesn't just necessarily have to be a day. He's sewn up an actual market. And so you need to start thinking, when someone thinks about first dances, they think about Ed Sheeran. What is it that you and your music and your style can be synonymous with to really link them together? Number 2, the club anthem. Now, when I think of Ed Sheeran, I think of acoustic guitars, I think about first dances, I think about smushy dancing, about sort of slightly cheesy, lovey-dovey lyrics that girls go, he's speaking to me. But He's also sewn up with his music some great club anthems. So what he's done is as soon as he's got the tracks written and the album's out, he'll go and find someone and he'll say, take that track and turn it into a club anthem. And all of a sudden, not only are you hearing Ed Sheeran every time you go out and there's a wedding and it's a first dance, but also you're hearing in a club. Like, there's not many artists that can make that crossover between first dance and club anthem. And it's very, very clever because he isn't trying to write songs that feature in both, but what he's doing is he's taking that song and he's saying, what other markets can we go down? Well, people going out and go into a club, I want my music in there. So he's got this amazing ability to actually write a track and then take it out of that environment, the first dance or a great driving anthem, and actually putting it into an Ibiza classic. And so when he does these collabs with these DJs, he's very clever with who he picks to do the remixes and how it actually gets into the clubs. But it's another market that he's in, and it's another tick box. Yes, when I go to the smushy dance, Ed Sheeran's the man. When I go to a club, all of a sudden, Ed Sheeran's still playing there. Very difficult to do, and he's done it in a really clever way. Number 3, the PR stunt. Now, Ed Sheeran is the master of the PR stunt. And the reason for this is because he understands attention. He understands that getting in front of people with what he does is kind of the name of the game. So when it comes to PR, he realizes that he can go on the Graham Norton show, and that's fantastic. That'll help a bit of promotion. But if he turns up at someone's wedding and sings their first dance, that will go viral beyond all belief. And you'll get so many more hits for that than he will from the Graham Norton show. So he's always looking for these really, really clever ways of getting attention. Also, he kind of lives almost like he's always on camera. He's always aware of it. He's always aware that there's going to be someone pointing a camera in his direction, so that whenever he can play up to that, he will. You might have seen one of the clips where he's walking through a shopping centre and someone's playing an Ed Sheeran track and he runs straight over and he gets involved. These tiny details is because he realizes that this tiny stunt can go massively viral for 5 minutes of his time. So it's very, very much worth it. 5 minutes might mean the difference between £1 million or 1 million album sales. That's the difference. And we are living in a time now where if you look at artists like Ollie Murs, Taylor Swift, Gary Barlow and Ed Sheeran, these are nice people and we're rooting for them more so because they're not just great musicians and great songwriters and great artists, but also we're rooting for them as people as well, because we've got to know them and love them, and they're kind of like Ed Sheeran and Gary Barlow, they're kind of like national treasures. And it doesn't matter whether you're listening to this and you like Pantera or Megadeth, you get the general idea. At the moment, they've got people on their side, they've got people in their army willing to push them on, and they know this and they are living their life as if there's a camera hidden somewhere and they're taking advantage of it at all times. And Ed Sheeran, when it comes to publicity stunts, he is the master of that. Number 4, the Christmas payday. Now, this is a very difficult thing to do. Everyone releases tracks at Christmas, but because of where Ed Sheeran is, he can get leverage. But again, another tick box. Whenever it gets to Christmas, he's going to make sure that he has a track to release with a video that he can make feel really, really Christmassy. And again, Christmas tracks don't have the same leverage as they used to, but someone like Cliff Richard, who started to become synonymous with just Christmas and releasing a new track every year for Christmas, you know, you've got to be careful not to fall into that. But Christmas is a big payday for a lot of artists. Why? Because people are going to be looking at Christmas presents. Why wouldn't I buy Ed Sheeran CD or an Ed Sheeran t-shirt? And so therefore, again, this is the time they need to have eyes on them. And so what's better than a Christmas track with a Christmas video, which is Christmassy on YouTube to get people into the Christmas spirit? Ed Sheeran knows that this is a key pivotal time, and so when he puts a track out, he will go all out to make sure that he is in front of everyone more so than everyone else at this time of year. And number 5, Ed Sheeran understands the power of collaborations. And obviously he's like the biggest of the big artists. He's up there with Beyonce and Justin Bieber, and he's up there with Adele. And these massive, massive artists. So he does hold leverage, but you know, whereas you might be trying to do a collaboration with some YouTuber with 1,000 hits, he's still got to try and organize something with Justin Bieber. That's got to be very, very difficult. And he is great at this. He understands the power again, of attention and getting in front of people. So he's collabed with Beyonce, he's collabed with Justin Bieber, he's collabed with John Mayer, he's collabed with Example, he's collabed with Rudimental, and you can see there's slightly different artists. He even collabed with One Direction. So he's collabing with artists who are very much in the pop market, but he's also collaborating with people who are slightly cooler than that and just outside of that very traditional lollipop teenage market. He really knows how to collab, and he's doing it a lot. If you look at his career, which is not massively long, he's done 15 to 20 massive collabs. Can you imagine if all of a sudden you write a track with John Mayer and you've got John Mayer's audience on board, and then 3 months later you're writing a track for Justin Bieber or One Direction and you've got their audience and their audience is part of yours, and it is growing faster and faster. Again, it all comes down to one thing, and that is when it comes to PR and getting his music and getting himself and his personality in front of people, he's the master at it. But just like Conor McGregor, as Conor McGregor always says, he can back it up. I back it up! I back it up! So not only can he get in front of people, but at that point, he can also show how good he is at what he does. Another PR stunt he did was the Wembley Stadium. He played Wembley Stadium with an acoustic guitar on his own. Now, for me personally, I wouldn't have wanted to see that. That isn't something I wanted to see. But then I'm not a massive Ed Sheeran fan. That was really smart. I mean, what's his outgoings? Like a tech and a towel. Like, that's it. Like, and that's one spotlight guy. I mean, can you imagine how much money he made from playing Wembley Stadium 2-3 times in a row? Like, crazy amount. And it was a great publicity stunt, something really good. And everyone said, that's a silly idea, you don't have a band, it's not going to look good. So he just got more press from it, more press, more publicity. The guy is a genius when it comes to getting attention and getting in front of people. But the reason is because he knows that when he's in front of people, he can back that up. So those are my 5 takeaways from Ed Sheeran. Things that you can, if you're smart, start to actually recreate in your style, in your field, with your demographic. Yes, he's the master of the first dance and you might not be. Yes, he can collab with One Direction and Justin Bieber and you might not be able to. But A, he's worked up to it. And number 2, you can still take all of these 5 things and you can take them down to your level. Just because you can't collab with Metallica, you can still collab with a really great band in your area. It's still the same principles, it's still all of the same stuff that you can do. So don't make excuses of, yes, but he's Ed Sheeran, he can do what he wants. That's not good enough. You can do the same thing, but what you can do is you can either do it on a local level or you can make it in a niche area for your band if you are like math rock or something like that. These are 5 great takeaways that you should be implementing and having a think about over the next few weeks so that when you hit 2018, then you are hitting the ground running. Cool, so hope that helped. I'd love to hear some more comments. I'd love to hear some more things that you think that I've missed out with Ed Sheeran, anything that he does really well that you've noticed, or any other artists that do similar things, so I'm continually learning. Like and subscribe to the video, all the usual stuff, but more importantly, just come and be a part of the community. Come and chat. I feel like the community is growing really well, and I'm making some really great friends, and I want to make more friends, so you and me should be friends. So come, hit me up, have a chat about stuff. Anything you need, I'll be online. Otherwise, take it easy. I'll see you guys tomorrow.